Hello, welcome back. I just wanted to share some things I've been up to here and there. Deck mods and tarot bags / oracle bags. So, as a lot of you know, I'm a paper crafter, I'm a junk journaler, and I would say about 90% of us don't like white edges. So you'll notice as you watch junk journaling videos that a lot of the time most of us ink the edges of our text, journal cards, pages, stickers even. You know, a lot of stickers have the white border. I will either usually I will fussy cut off the white border and then I'll still ink the edge to get rid of. When you turn it sideways, you can see that white edge. So when you're collaging, a lot of times those white edges will show up and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, which I think is how we ended up on that trend. And so I will be sitting there looking at my decks, wanting to do the same thing to my tarot and oracle decks. But I was like, that's wrong, right? I shouldn't mess with my decks. And then I follow Rochelle from Amethyst Ascension. I think I've actually watched her for like 5 years now. And but for a long time I didn't have access to YouTube, so there was a few year gap there that I didn't get to watch anybody. But I came across a video of hers one day where she was doing deck mods, and I was like, ooh, what is that? And people ink the edges of their decks. I was like, yes. Now they do it in a different way. Well, as you can see how much I ink the edges, I always have my ink daubers here. Black and brown I use the most. However, I do have all the colors. You can just, that one's messed up, but it's an old one. But you can just peel these off. They're held on with Velcro, and put on whatever color you're trying to use. But they don't do it that way, they do it with markers. Because this way gets the ink actually on the front edge of whatever you're inking, plus the side, okay? When you're doing the deck mods, I mean, you totally can do whatever you want. Don't let me say you can't do anything, because we're all artists here and we're all creative. And all I needed was the permission to say I can do whatever I want with my decks. And I was like, yes. But so far, I'm just doing the edges. And just to try to give you an idea, like you've got this darker deck and then white. You know, it just, it bothers me. I don't like it. And so, what I gather, which I'm new to this, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but what I gather is that you want to use water-based markers. A lot of people use Tombow. However, Tombow is expensive, and this can and will ruin your markers, okay? Just imagine you're taking a marker and rubbing it over the thin edge of a card over and over and over. It's gonna start to cut into your marker tips, okay? So this will ruin markers. You wanna use cheap markers, in my opinion. I do so happen to have a set of markers I received in a Happy Mail. I guess the brand is Vodem. I'm not really sure where they came from, like what store, but they are working perfectly. They're great. The only thing is I really need more colors. I do use the fat edge. I did make a little color guide here so I could really try to match up the color to the deck to make sure it goes well. And I definitely need more colors. Now I have a set of, I think 48 color markers. I can't remember offhand, but they're not brand new. I didn't just get them. I've had them for 1 year maybe, but I've barely used them. I only used them to like swatch them out when I first got them. And they're behaving like they're dried out. And so they almost messed up one of my decks because they're not working that great. So I'm gonna look up some videos to see how I can get that ink flowing well again. so that I can have access to more colors, because I've only gotten 3 decks done because that's all I was able to match the colors really well on. So the first deck I did was my little pocket Lightseers tarot, which I love this tarot. And here is the back. You can see it's black with a couple different shades of green. This one might be coming across as white on camera, I can't tell, but it is more of a mint green. And I edged it in green. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Instead of turning and seeing that white, you see this matching green that totally matches the back of the cards. I love it. And this isn't white here. This is little hints of shimmer, using my shimmery metallic paint markers to add a little depth to it. So I definitely love how that turned out. It just looks so much better than the white edges, and it matches well. So excited with that. Next, I was able to match a pretty decent color for my Ancient Stones Oracle by Rebecca Campbell, and I went with blue. Now, it is a brighter blue, but there are hints, little hints of the same bright blue. Look at that. See, it matches those hints of the bright blue. You can see the bright blue right on the edge there when you turn it. So it definitely picks up that little bit of bright blue there, and it just really adds a pop of color compared to just the plain white. Love how that came out. And then I only got one other one done, and this one was my Lantern Oracle, and it had borders, big borders on the edge, around the image of the cards, and I did have a difficult time shuffling this one. The cards kind of clumped together a little bit, and they were a bit big for my hands, so I decided to trim the borders and color the edges. So I'm really happy with these, how these came out. Here is our back to our Lantern Oracle, and I got pretty close to a matching color. I think it came out great. So happy with it. And then here it is borderless, and I personally really love when the images are borderless. I think, I don't know, it's just the style that I love, to have the borderless images. So not only is this much easier for me to hold and handle now, you can I like the way it looks a lot better too without the borders. So beautiful. So happy how that came out. I think it looks so much better. And that's just my personal opinion, but I think that's just the creative side of me too. Like, I just really wanted to add a little something to my decks. And then next, also, not just next, but throughout this whole time, I've been making bags. So I've got a few different materials and kinds here. Let me just put this one back. I do want to preface this with, I am not a sewer, okay? I sew in my junk journals, and that's the extent of my sewing skills. So basically, I sew around a page, I sew around a tag, or I sew around a journal card. Okay, that's basically the extent of my sewing. That is absolutely, not the same as actually trying to sew an item. So there were a lot of mistakes made here, a learning curve, but overall I'm really happy with how they came out. If you look close, you're gonna see that they're not perfect, but I'm happy with them, and I learned, as I went. And also, I really battle with my sewing machine a lot. That sucker gives me a run for my money, and I don't understand it. Everything's going fine, and out of nowhere the thing goes crazy, and it's ruined a couple of the tarot bags too, so that's really sad. One of them I thought it ruined, but luckily it was on the corner, so I just was able to make it a little smaller and still worked out. So here's the first one. I found this awesome tarot card fabric from Joann's. How cool is that? I don't know if it comes across on camera, but it's got sparkle too, which I love the sparkle. And we have tarot cards, and this is for tarot and oracle bags. So how perfect is that? And then on the tarot card fabric, I did use the purple ribbon. Some of it's plain, some of it has this little shimmer to it because I ran out of the plain, so I had to buy more. And all of the tarot bags have these gemstone bead pentacles for the end of the ribbon. I was so excited about these. I learned how to make these from Priscilla at Release the Craftin during our hashtag ArtWitch August, and I'm so glad she shared this with us. I was like, yes, those are perfect for my tarot bags. So we've got fluorite, labradorite, and amethyst ones, and I'm just really thrilled with how these came out. Again, they're not all perfect, but I am really, really happy with them. When I started off, my ribbons were much shorter, and I began to worry, were they long enough? You never know what size deck somebody has, so I did start to make the ribbons much longer, which may be too long now. It's up to you how you like it, how you want to do it, and you can untie the ribbons. Usually I'll stick a dot of glue on the inside of the knot so that the ribbons can't come undone, but I didn't with these because I wanted, you know, not all of these I'm keeping, and so whoever gets one, I wanted them to be able to untie it and shorten it if they want, make it the right size for them. So that's one thing I learned from, was I started making the ribbons a lot longer, which you will see shorter ones on other bags I'm about to show you. Also, these have felt on the inside, so that way it makes them just a little cushy, a little extra soft and cushiness to protect your decks, and they are completely reversible. So if you'd rather the tarot fabric on the inside and the purple on the outside, all you have to do is just turn it inside out, and it is completely reversible, and now you've got a purple bag. So whatever you prefer, you can have it however you like. So that's my first one with the fluorite pentacle. Here, let's put this deck in it. That's where I got the deck from, just to show you. I'm going to turn this one back out. And I personally like the guidebooks. I love, I know a lot of people like to read their cards intuitively. That's wonderful, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not quite at that stage of my game yet, number one. A lot of cards I do actually read intuitively, but there's also a lot of times that I really like the guidebook too, okay? So I want, you know, these might seem wide to you, but I didn't know what size decks people had. And if you've got a thicker deck, like this is a much thicker deck than a lot of mine, and so that's going to take up space, and so you need it to be wider in order for it to fit in there. If I had it shorter, this deck would not fit in this bag, okay? Plus, I wanted you to be able to put your book in there. Now, if we're talking about a mini pocket deck, these are definitely probably too big for those, but I know, you know, we all have some full-size decks as well. So this really allows to be able to fit a bigger deck, plus its guidebook, which is when I realized that my ribbons were not necessarily quite long enough. Well, they were long enough, but just barely, kind of thing. So that's when I started making them longer, so that way it would be sure to work for whatever someone had. And you can just tuck it through like that. You can also do it like this to try to make it slightly more secure. And if you do it that way, the ribbon's definitely not too long. So I think that is cute, and I'm happy. I'm really happy with them. I wasn't sure how this would go, but the idea popped in my head, and I don't know, you know, people on my paper crafting channel know this about me, but once the idea pops in my head, I can't ignore it. I have to act on it. Here's another one. There's only one with this material, and it's the glittery as well. I got this in Happy Meal from another friend, this fabric, and I love it. And the Galaxy purple and black with silver glitter. We have the purple ribbon, and we have an amethyst pentacle on this one. This one just has the black inside. And again, it does have the felt, and it is fully reversible if you prefer to do it that way. Sorry, I'm out of room on my desk, so I have some things drying off to the side, so I can't set anything on top of them. Here is the next one. This is also fabric that I got from Joann's, and my ribbon's twisted here. It's foiled, pink, purples, and greens, stars, and we got moons, crescent moons. We got the eye, stars. I thought it was beautiful. And look at this ribbon. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but it has this very faint green sheen to it, which is perfect. And then this one has labradorite. And all the labradorite beads do have flash. Let's see if I can get some flash for you. There's some you can see. But yeah, all the beads have flash. It could be, there's some right there, but yeah. So they are decent beads with flash. And so this is an example of a shorter ribbon. And I learned to start making them longer because I wasn't sure how people would feel about just barely being able to tuck it in. It still works, it keeps it closed, so they're totally still usable. But I made several this length, and then when I went to tuck the decks in them to just check them out, see how they were, I realized that. So that's when I started making them longer. But it still works. And this one has the like greens and blues batik for the inside. I thought it went great. Again, it is still fully reversible if you want to reverse it, and it does have the felt. And you can see I have a deck and a book in here. Beautiful deck. The Resurrection Oracle. I love it. But yeah, so those are my tarot bags. Oh yeah, I have one more. It's a different style. I only made one of these, and because I was trying to decide, I wanted to make several, and I was trying to decide which style to make. I went with this style for the bulk of them because I felt like this one had less room for error, and so I wanted to make sure that, you know, I didn't make any errors until I get a little better at it. But so this one is one I'm going to keep for myself. It's a vertical one like this. So compared to this one, your deck lays down flat, and this one, your deck stands up straight. And I used that fabric that I love so much, came from Lori. And this one, you have an elastic, which at the time all I had was this flat elastic, which wasn't what I wanted. I wanted the thin round elastic, and of course that's when Dollar Tree decides to quit selling that and only sells the flat. And it took a while before I could get out to Joann's and buy the others. But this was my prototype. This was the very first one I made to practice, to see before I invested in these cute fabrics from Joann's and the ribbons and all of that. I wanted to make sure this was something I could actually pull off, and I feel like I did a pretty good job for my first time. You can see here there's a little issue. I can actually just stitch that up, I just haven't yet. I had this really fun gemstone, not real gemstone, crystal looking button, which is perfect for me because I love the crystals. But I was concerned, you know, getting the elastic the right length, the button in the right spot. There is more room for error here, and I didn't want to mess them up. So, but it fits good. I have my first tarot deck that my mom got me, and I love it. It's got, you know, beautiful colors. It's got crystals, and it has, you know, the number and the name, the Fool, and then it has like an affirmation that matches the card on here. So it says, I am guided and protected on my life journey. And it has, every card has an matching crystal, and I'm, you know, all about the crystals, so that's why Mom got it. The Fool has all the crystals. I can do a flip through of this at some point. The Moon is Rainbow Moonstone. That's obvious. And then when you get to the Minor Arcana, each suit has a crystal. So for example, all the swords is ametrine, I believe. Oh nope, look out, that I'm wrong. Ametrine, Sugilite. So anyway, let me know if you want me to do a flip through of this deck down below. I'll be happy to, if you want to check it out more. But that was a beautiful deck. I decided to put that deck in here. It's special because it's my first tarot, and my mom got it for me. And you see the mistake I made there? When I put my elastic on, I have a twist in it. So, but again, learning curve, it was my first one. I'm still very happy with how these turned out, and I'm really happy with my deck mods as well. And tell me what you guys think of everything down below. I hope that you all have a magical day today, and thanks for hanging out. Bye.